What up, team? Welcome back to Big Boys Boxing. I'm Jono, your host. And today, we're going to go through the news together. Because I haven't had a chance. I've been a very busy man this last week. So I haven't had a lot of time to drop any videos and whatnot. So, without further ado, we shall get into it. Just let me do a quick audio check here. So, we is good. Double A Boxing and Blunts in the house. Hope you're all good there, brother. Okay, so I guess the biggest news, as you could have told by the thumbnail, is Dillian Whyte has an opponent, or looks to have an opponent, for the Diriyah card in Saudi Arabia against Marius Vak. So as far as I know, as of right now, the fight is not confirmed. So give me a sec here, I'll get the browser up on screen and we'll go search for an actual story on it. So here be my browser, and we'll just type in Dillian Whyte. And we'll click on the news tab, and here we go. What the hell? Dillian Whyte was shot twice. This can't be a new story, surely not. What the fuck? Where's the date on this bitch? Doesn't have a date. Alright, click on it. We'll see what happens. The Sun. The fuck? Nah, this ain't right. I'll come back to that. That can't be right. Alright, I'll type something else into Google because it's not helping. See if it comes up now. Dillian Whyte versus Marius Vak. There we go. Oh no, it's a YouTube video. Can't do that. God damn. Alright, so what I'll do then, let's go to BoxRec. Screw this. And we'll find Dillian Whyte. Dillian the Body Snatcher Whyte. Still not confirmed. Alright, so we'll go to Boxing Scene and see what we can find there then. Or maybe we'll just hit the news as it comes. Gervonta Davis not interested. Talks too much. Ruiz Joshua rematch. Diriyah arena revealed. Yeah, we'll have a quick look at that then. So I've noticed both fighters are now in Saudi. They both got sparring partners there, so they're still sparring. But here's the arena that has been built. Let's have the computer read the story
Photos
for us.
Ruiz Joshua rematch. Diriyah arena revealed. Earlier this week, Joshua promised the world an iconic evening of boxing, as he flew into the kingdom ahead of the epic bout on December 7th. The first ever heavyweight world title fight to take place in the Middle East will be staged in the custom-built 15,000-seat Diriyah Arena in the heart of the UNESCO World Heritage Site, known as the home of heroes and kings. Eddie Hearn, managing director of Matchroom Boxing, said, "The arena and set are utterly breathtaking, with a theme park and concert the night before as well. It's like nothing we've seen before in boxing. The clash on the dunes will be a night to remember. We can't wait." The Diriyah Arena has been constructed by 175 staff working tirelessly to transform the 10,000 square meter site, which includes 295 tons of steel, which would stretch 57 kilometers. Work began on October 7th, just 2 months out, with 3,000 SQM of scaffolding.
Yeah, right, blah blah, they're building an arena specifically for it. That oil money goes a long way when you've got shitloads of it, doesn't it? There's Santa Cruz, Luis Ortiz. Any heavyweight that thinks I'm old, get in the ring. Well, I'm not a heavyweight, but I still think you're old, and I still think you're slow, and you're getting slower the more time goes on. Any young, decent fighter that can put out decent volume, I believe will beat this guy. Luis Ortiz be scratching to keep inside the top 10 for me now. He looked a lot slower than he did 20 months ago when he fought Deontay the first time. He put a lot less punches out in the fight he had against Deontay. So it is what it is. I'm sure he could still beat some boxers that aren't top 10 material, but that's just my opinion. I was discussing somewhat with Rafael Dawkins yesterday about what Luis Ortiz has done in his pro career. It's arguable whether Bryant Jennings or Christian Hammer is his best win, and the gap of class between there and Deontay Wilder is a huge gap in class. So he hasn't really proven how good he is, if you get what I'm saying. If he had fought somebody in the middle of that class, you know, the likes of Adam Kovnarski, or even a Charles Martin, or who else has PBC got that he could fight? Jermaine Franklin. Mind you, I think Jermaine Franklin's lesser quality than Christian Hammer and Bryant Jennings, but there's not a lot in that stable. But you know, guys like Philip Hrgović, the Efe Jugbars, even Sergey Kuzmins, Michael Hunters, Joseph Parkers of this world would fill that gap, and he's faced nobody of that quality. So like I say, he hasn't really proven how good he is, but when he stepped right up to elite world title level, he's proved how good he isn't. And also, like I said, he's looking older and older every fight. He's looking slower and slower every fight. I think it's done at elite level for Luis Ortiz. But, you know, he may get a fight against one of those fighters I mentioned, or someone of that level, and maybe he could win it. Maybe he could prove that he does have something left, but I can only speculate at the moment. So we'll have a listen to this story anyway.
Luis Ortiz, any heavyweight that thinks I'm old, get in the ring. Las Vegas, a second knockout loss to Deontay Wilder won't prevent Luis Ortiz from continuing his boxing career. The 40-year-old Ortiz is very disappointed that a slight tactical mistake resulted in Wilder knocking him out in the 7th round of their rematch Saturday night at MGM Grand Garden Arena. Ortiz was up on all 3 scorecards, however, and remains confident that he is capable of defeating any other heavyweight in the sport. The skilled, strong southpaw just hopes another top heavyweight will fight him now that the hard-hitting Wilder has stopped him twice. "Retirement's not in my plans," Ortiz said during a post-fight press conference at MGM Grand. "I'm going to take out my frustrations on a few other heavyweights that are gonna pop up. So, you're gonna see just exactly how I feel in the next few years." The Cuban-born contender later added, "If there's any heavyweight that thinks I'm old, jump through the ropes. Get in the ring." The dangerous Ortiz, 31-2, 26 KOs, 2 NC, has lost only to Wilder, 4-2, 0-1, 41 KOs, who made the 10th defense of his WBC title by beating Ortiz in their Fox Sports pay-per-view main event. Wilder was careful with the experienced, crafty challenger before he unloaded a right hand that knocked Ortiz on his back, underneath the bottom rope. A stunned Ortiz slowly reached his feet, but referee Kenny Bayless still stopped their scheduled 12-round rematch with 9 seconds to go in the 7th round. Wilder was behind 59-55, 59-55 and 58-56 entering the 7th round. "I really had to be smart with him," Wilder said. "We knew that coming in. We knew that in training camp. I went back and looked at videos, and seen what I was doing right and what I was doing wrong. I look at videos and I looked and saw what he did right and what he did wrong. And we put a game plan together. And it was an amazing fight. I saw the opportunity, and I took it. And my statement, and I said these guys have to be perfect with me for 12 rounds, I'd only have to be perfect for 2 seconds, it's legit. I proved that tonight as well. We're still undefeated, we still have our belt. And now we move on to the next phase and chapter in my life. I'm looking to be the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world." A respectful Wilder still feels that Ortiz can accomplish some of his professional goals as well. "Ortiz, you definitely have to take your hats off to him," said Wilder, who stopped Ortiz in the 10th round of their first fight in March 2018. "He's definitely one of the most dangerous men in the heavyweight division. I always say that's why none of these other heavyweights do not want to fight him. And he proved that Saturday night. Hopefully, they'll give him an opportunity now. Maybe they'll see little kinks in his game and give him an opportunity that he truly deserves." Keith Idec is a
I've got some qualms with that. I don't think Ortiz is the most dangerous heavyweight in the division. Obviously, Deontay Wilder is. He's the man who can be losing a fight. He loses plenty of fights until he gets that one moment, and he keeps pulling it off. So he's got to be credited for it. But he did not. Luis Ortiz did not prove that he's the most dangerous heavyweight besides Deontay Wilder at all in either fight. Deontay Wilder had been hurt in previous fights. Eric Molina, very low level, at world level anyway, hurt him. Luis Ortiz hurt him in the 7th round the first time around. I thought Ortiz had Wilder hurt in this fight as well, just before the knockout. But he got lazy. He let Wilder out of the corner. Wilder stepped around, opened up an angle, put the right hand down the pipe, and she's all over. There's plenty of fighters that could do that to Luis Ortiz as well, particularly because of his very, very low volume. But we'll have a quick look. Actually, I'll go to BoxRec. Just for an example, we'll go to the ratings for heavyweight, and I'll give you some picks for fights if they happened. So we'll go to heavyweights. There's a good handful of fighters I believe could beat Luis Ortiz. So here we go. Deontay Wilder is now the #1 heavyweight on BoxRec as of that fight. He's a couple of points ahead of Andy Ruiz Jr. Okay, so Andy Ruiz Jr. for me beats Ortiz. Anthony Joshua, maybe. A lot's gonna be told about Anthony Joshua come December 7th. How he's gonna come back from a shock loss where he got tuned up by the little fat boy who's ranked above him. But I think it's highly possible Joshua could beat Ruiz. Alexander Usyk, I think it's highly likely Anthony Joshua could beat Luis Ortiz. Alexander Usyk beats Ortiz for me. Tyson Fury beats Ortiz. Alexander Povetkin, that is a good fight. For me, is a very even fight. Two 40-year-olds, well past their best. It's a good fight. I'd love to see it. But Povetkin's busy with Michael Hunter at the moment. DeLeon White, for me, beats Luis Ortiz. Kubrat Pulev, maybe. That's a tough one too. Pulev's got that jab, and he's much longer than Ortiz, so I think that's also a good fight. And he's an older fighter as well. Ortiz, well, I don't know if Ortiz can beat Ortiz, but I think so. Derek Chisora, I don't think he beats Ortiz, to be honest, and he's number 10. But I think it'd still be a pretty good fight to watch. Adam Kovnarski, he beats Ortiz for me. Joseph Parker, he beats Ortiz for me. Filip Hrgovic beats Ortiz. Dominic Brazil, hell no, Ortiz beats the shit out of him. Oscar Rivas, that's another very good fight. Oscar Rivas, Luis Ortiz, for me is another very good fight. Hard to pick. Christian Hammer, we've seen him against Ortiz, and Ortiz didn't look great, but he did beat him. And the last one here, Gerald Washington. Ooh, I think that could be a very good fight too. The stylistic matchup, low volume technical boxing. I think Ortiz has the better chin, but I think a bit of movement from Gerald Washington could cause some problems for Ortiz. However, I think once Gerald Washington got hit with a flush left, if it didn't knock him out, his confidence gets knocked and he's in the shit. So I think that's as far down as we need to go at 17. So the definite guys inside the top 17 that I think could beat Luis Ortiz, let me count. I'm going to leave out the ones that are very even, okay? Because they're maybes, like Oscar Rivas. But Hrgovic, 1. Parker, 2. Kovnarski, 3. Chisora, no. Pulev, no. White, 4. Leave Povetkin. Usyk, 5. I'll leave Joshua out. Oh no, I'll put Joshua in there. 6. 7 in Ruiz. And was Tyson Fury in here? Let me try that again. I miscounted. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I've got 8 guys in the top 17 that I definitely think could beat Luis Ortiz. But hey, I'd love to see any of them in the ring with him. That'd be great. We'll go just a couple more down. I think Michael Hunter beats Ortiz. I don't know about Yevgeny Romanov. Joe Joyce. Don't know about that one either. That's a pretty close fight. Charles Martin. I don't know about that one. Maybe, maybe not. Huey Fury. Maybe, because he can use that movement on the old boy, you see. So there are a few fighters there that I definitely think can beat Luis Ortiz. But anyways, we'll move on to our next story. Something of interest. Where we Andy Ruiz hit Saudi. Yeah, we knew about that. He's got Gerald Washington. He was posting a lot of stuff on his social media with the plane ride and whatnot. If you want to keep up with what's going on, instead of watching Andy Ruiz, check out Gerald Washington's social media sites. He's frequently posting. Okay, Wilder wouldn't be talking Fury if he had same ref from Ortiz fight. I'm not sure what he means, what this means. Wilder wouldn't be talking Fury if we had same ref from Ortiz fight. Well, you know, it's an argument that does have substance. If it was any other referee in Wilder versus Fury the first time around, it's quite likely the fight would have got stopped right there and then. As soon as Fury went down, no count, end of story. But Jack Reese was the referee. Simple as that. You can complain about the referee all you want. But if Deontay Wilder had have got knocked down and had just beaten the count, I'm confident that Jack Reese would have given Deontay Wilder the same allowance or the same consideration that he did Tyson Fury. And, you know, it's been well documented that Jack Reese spoke to both fighters in the dressing rooms before the fight, and he made it clear that he was going to give both guys the chance to recover if they got hurt. So it is what it is. You can complain about it all you want, but yeah, it is what it is. I'm not going to go into that story. Callum Smith, I'll always find a way to beat John Ryder. Well, guess what, Callum Smith? 80% of the world think you got beaten by John Ryder anyway, so always my ass. I think you're a bit of a hype job, and I thought that you weren't as good as many think you are when I saw you fight Nicky Holzkin, and you had real problems with him. He wasn't even a ranked fighter. He's coming up from kickboxing, and he gave you hell. So you're not going to shake this controversial decision off easily. And, you know, I think it's a case of a lot of the judges had it in their head before the fight even started that Callum Smith is supposed to win this fight. And as for that one judge giving 117, 111 to Callum Smith, he only lost 3 rounds in the fight? What a load of horse shit. Okay, looking down for the stories that we want to see. Chris Eubank Jr. Scrolling down. Andy Ruiz, not convinced. Slim Joshua can take a good shot. Well, having muscle on your body doesn't help your punch resistance when you're getting punched in the head. Anthony Joshua doesn't like getting hit to the body by vicious body punches, but neither does any boxer. And Andy Ruiz, being such a small heavyweight, does have to use a body attack against these big guys. So expect Andy Ruiz to go for the body a lot to try and bring those hands down, but expect Anthony Joshua to be moving a lot more than we usually see him at the same time. There's counters to everything a boxer does, so I'm just looking forward to the fight, and we've got a couple of weeks to wait for that one. Wilder, people talk about skills, but I'm undefeated. KO everyone I faced. No, you didn't KO Fury, mate. So you're straight out lying through your teeth there again. And yes, you can argue, oh, but he was knocked out and it was the referee. Well, the referee didn't call it a knockout, so it ain't a fucking knockout. Simple as that. Deontay Wilder, he does, like I said earlier, have to be given credit for getting the job done, regardless of how he does it. And he does make a mockery of boxing. He doesn't, I mean, he has a skill of his own, right? It's not conventional. It doesn't mean it's not skill. And he's mastered it. Like he says, he's undefeated. Nobody's managed to be able to use any kind of blueprint. We've seen him hurt a couple of times, but nobody's beaten him. He's come back. He's got good stamina. He has that big punch, and that power lasts until the 12th round. For me, I think it's a case of somebody who needs to be high volume. Somebody who doesn't give Deontay Wilder the chance to set his feet or to stop and think about what he's going to do next. Someone who's going to have to make him work all the time, but someone with a lot of movement as well, because you can't afford to get hit by one of those shots. As we saw, it only takes one shot from Deontay Wilder. And as has been reported, you have to be perfect for 12 rounds to beat this guy, because he only needs 2 seconds, like he did against Luis Ortiz. So, you know, I think a guy like Andy Ruiz or Adam Kovnarski or Joseph Parker or even Zhilei Zhang, guys who move lots, guys who can throw a lot of punches, guys who aren't 40 or 50 years old, however old you want to call Luis Ortiz, guys who are younger than 35, put it that way. Guys who can handle the pace, guys who can make Deontay Wilder work, have a chance of beating him. And I believe one day he will be beaten, unless he retires or doesn't face any of the guys that I'm actually talking about. Alright, what else have we got here? Anthony Joshua rejects the idea of being nervous as Ruiz bout nears. Well, he's got full camp to prepare for one opponent this time, so if he loses again, there'll be no goddamn excuses whatsoever. And I'm looking forward to seeing what's happening. I'm still picking Ruiz at this point. But that may change closer to the fight, particularly after the weigh-in, but we will see. Peter Fury expects Huey to get world title shot in 2020. How? I'll just open another window here. I've got to check this out. I've got to check it out. We'll just go to these rankings here. I can't see how he can get a world title fight. Right. Daniel Dubois, Michael Hunter, Edgy Caviar, Kubrat Pulev, Philip Higovic. Okay, it's not in the WBC rankings. Daniel Dubois, Michael Hunter, Edgy Caviar, Kubrat Pulev. Oh, no, that's WBC again. Whoops. So, what do we got here? Fraser Kendo still hanging around in those WBA rankings. Ivan Dodge, Malden Miljan. Hate these foreign names, I can't pronounce it. Fujimoto Kuzman. Okay. To get a world title shot, you have to be in rankings somewhere inside the top 15, and for the WBC, unless it's approved by the WBC Council, you have to be inside the top 10. And guess what? Huey Fury is in no rankings anywhere, so getting a title shot is out of the question. But this weekend, I'll go back to box rec. Actually, I'll just do this. Huey Fury's box rec, right? He's fighting this weekend, and he's fighting this guy, Pavel Sauer, who you might think, looking at his numbers, being 11-2, isn't that bad. But guess what? This dude has fought nobody except for the guys he's lost to. He lost via unanimous decision to Jermaine Franklin, and he lost by KO to Filip Hrgovic. And besides that, if you're a casual fan, you'd be hard pressed to recognize any other names on his resume, full stop. Man, I'm having trouble recognizing most of them. Tom Selleck, I've heard of him before. It's 9-0. And he beat him. But I'll bet you he'd fought nobody as well. So this Pavel Sauer. Jermaine Franklin couldn't stop him, but Jermaine Franklin is having trouble stopping anybody at the moment. But yeah, Pavel Sauer's got a 78-inch reach. He's 6'5.5", so he's a pretty big dude. The big teller, having fought nobody, he should have a higher KO ratio, but he's at 46.15% and gone 53 rounds in 13 fights. So this should be a run out for Huey Fury, and if he doesn't get rid of this guy, he's got no fucking hope, man. So he's fighting this weekend on the same card as Zhilei Zhang and Andrei Rudenko, which I'd like to talk about shortly, but we'll just get through any more important news. Still looking for the story that's talking about Dillian White. I don't know if there's one up here. There's one. Zhilei Zhang. Division should know I'm coming to do damage. Big bang, Zhilei Zhang. I haven't been talking about this dude for a long time. He's been hanging around doing squat for a long time. So we might as well get into it now that I'm talking about it. I'll go and bring up Zhilei Zhang. The big bang of Zhilei Zhang, 6'6", southpaw Chinese. Has he got a registered reach here? Or is his stance, division, debut? No registered reach. But I'm guessing he's got about somewhere around an 80-inch reach, somewhere there. But look through his record here, there's not really much to write home about. This guy was a 2008 silver medalist at the Olympics, so he had huge potential, and then he's just been fighting nobodies. But recently he's been doing fairly well. These guys here, down to this one here. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Out of his last 8 fights, he's gotten first round KOs except for his last fight, which was third round KO, right? And you think, yeah, it's because he's faced nobodies, but these guys, Don Hainsworth shouldn't have lasted as long as these other guys that I'm going to talk about here. Byron Pooley, he's somewhat durable. He's a fat, chubby little dude, but usually elite guys can get a couple of rounds out of him. Not Zhili Zhang, knocked him out in one. Nick Guevas, usually elite guys can get a few rounds out of him as well. Knocked out in one. Curtis Harper is actually quite durable, even though he's famous for walking out of the ring as the first bell rang for the first round against Efra Jugba. He's actually fairly durable. There is a fight that he was in, it was an absolute war. I can't remember off the top of my head who it was against. But he knocked him out in one as well. So the rest aren't really worth talking about. So I think Zhili Zhang is coming on. Now, he was going to be fighting Sergey Kuzmin, but Sergey Kuzmin pulled out like 3 days ago with a broken foot, so he can't participate in the bout. And I was actually getting excited for the fight because I hadn't seen this dude do anything for a long time. And when it went to TBA, I was like, oh, they're not going to get a decent opponent within 4 days to get on that card. But guess what, they got one. And still, this guy here, Andrei Rudenko, is still going to be the best guy that Zhili Zhang has ever faced as a pro. And this guy, Andrei Rudenko, is definitely a journeyman level fighter. He hasn't been that active. He's only smaller. He's got 4 losses, but those 4 losses were to elite level at the time guys. His last time out, he fought Ajit Kabiel and got absolutely dominated in that fight. But his other losses, well, it was a unanimous decision over 12, his last fight, but he did get dominated. He also got beaten by Alexander Povetkin over the distance, but it wasn't a full-on domination. So take what you want from it, but here we go. Huey Fury boxed his head off pretty much. I had a little bit of trouble with him at times. Rudenko's quite small. I think he's only like 6'1" or something like that. And his first loss was to Lucas Brown. Lucas Brown before he got put down. And that was over the distance as well. So Lucas Brown can bang. Alexander Povetkin can bang. His other 2 losses were to boxers and Huey Fury and Ajit Kabiel. But this guy can take a punch. So I think at the very least Zhili Zhang should get some rounds out of him. I'm expecting it to go the distance, but I do expect Zhili Zhang to be trying to make a statement against this guy. Zhili Zhang would like to be the first guy to knock him out. And if he can do it in 1 to 3 rounds, that certainly is a statement. Maybe Big Bang Zhili Zhang is putting the division on notice. So this is probably the most interesting fight for the weekend. There was another one I noticed. Boxing Squared mentioned it in a video. Robert Helenius is back in action after being spectacularly knocked out by Gerald Washington. So we'll look him up. Can't remember who he's fighting because he's insignificant. It's a run out fight, a get back fight. So we'll just get into his box rec here. Let's see. Robert Helenius. Oh, this guy. Do I bother trying to pronounce this? Matias Roberto Osorio? Matias Osorio. I'll just say that. Sorry if I've butchered your name there, mate, but it is what it is. 9-4. Who? Oh man, look at that picture. Horrible. Um, so this guy, orthodox Brazilian, no height, no reach. So he could be a midget for all we know. We'll look at maybe a couple of weights. 240.5 pounds, so he can't be that tiny. He's got to be sort of at least 6'2". If he's weighing 240 pounds and he's 6 foot or under, then he's just a fat fuck. 249, 247. It looks like he's fairly consistent with his weight too, so ranging between 240 or 238 and 249. So who's he fought though? I bet you it's nobody's. Nobody. Oh, Puchetta. I know him. Manuel Puchetta. Who did he fight? Somebody I know. Never mind. Sherman Williams, the tag. Shit, he's still around. Haven't seen him fight since he fought Joseph Parker years ago. Did he win against Sherman Williams? He lost. He got knocked out by the tank. Funny. TKO loss. So I'll go and open up a hangout and see if anybody's interested in jumping on. Just give me a few secs here. I'll go sort that out. Oh, there was something else I wanted to cover actually before I go and do that. Get this browser back up. Joseph Parker. Over here. This is the Kiwi Box and Big Boys Boxing Facebook page. So, Duco, who used to be the promotional company for Joseph Parker, have still got a website, or a page on Facebook, and they still post some stuff here. Daniel Dubois open to Joseph Parker. That had been floating around for a while because Frank Warren had mentioned that he would, Daniel Dubois would fight him. But Duco, and this site used to be run by, what's his name, Craig Stanaway, who used to be the media liaison for Duco events. So I'm not quite sure who's running it now. Maybe it's David Higgins himself, because Duco in New Zealand is pretty much disbanded from what I understand. So I think this is a bit of a bait towards Eddie Hearn. Could this be the matchup? Because Daniel Dubois is promoted by Frank Warren, and Joseph Parker is signed for another 2 fights with Matchroom UK. So I think it'd be pretty tough to get this fight made with the promotional clash. You know, I don't imagine Frank is really willing to give his up-and-coming heavyweight the potential cash cow for his promotional banner up to Joseph Parker at, being a top 10 heavyweight. It's going to be a pricey fight to get Joseph Parker to fight him, and there's also the barriers between the promoters. But Daniel Dubois has a fight scheduled for late December against Kitaro Fujimoto, which will probably only be a 1 or 2 round fight, being realistic. But it does have the WBC silver belt is going to be on the line for that, and it's also got the WBO, is it Asia Pacific or the Oriental? It's one of the minor regional belts that Fujimoto has, which would boost Daniel Dubois' ranking with the WBO and potentially put him in line for a title shot. If that belt gets vacated, he could end up being ranked higher than Joseph Parker, because Parker doesn't hold any belts at the moment. So effectively, if Parker and Dubois fought instead of Fujimoto, there's nothing on the line for Dubois if he wins. Absolutely nothing, besides a ranking to jump one higher. I think Dubois 6 and Parker's 4 with the WBO, so it doesn't make a lot of sense really for me. But then when I went and looked this up, scroll up, and oh, look at this. Look at this. So these stories, obviously, these are just links to news pages. You can go and check these out if you go to the Duco boxing page yourself on Facebook. But Eddie Hearn says Joseph Parker is still in the running for the Chisora fight. So negotiations with Usyk about potentially fighting Chisora can't actually be going that well. And I had my suspicions about this because, initially Usyk's management, being K2, I think, his primary promoters, initially they said they're not interested in fighting anybody until they get their title shot. But then after David Haye and Eddie Hearn were in these guys' ears, they came out and said that they could potentially be interested in a fight against Derek Chisora. So I think that was a kind of a bait, to say, how much money are you going to give us for it? Are you going to really make it worth our while? Otherwise you can just piss off. And I have this sneaking suspicion that whatever they offered for Usyk to fight Derek Chisora wasn't enough. So they've got the piss off. And now we're probably going to get Chisora v Parker on a big heavyweight card in February. But this is just speculation at the moment for me, okay? So that's that covered. You guys can go and check out those stories for yourself. Just have a quick scroll, see what else is on here. I think this is all much older stuff. This page hasn't been very active for quite some time, so it is what it is. So I'll get back to what I was supposed to be doing, which was opening a hangout. Get that back on screen, yo. Go and open a hangout. Oops, wrong account. That's not gonna work. Here we go. Big Boys Boxing. Sorry about the delayed team, but winging it today. Totally winging it. Alright, Joel. Here comes a hangout link for anybody who may like to jump on, have a yarn about anything I've covered today. Boom. There's the link. Parker probably wins that one right now, in my opinion. Dubois needs another few fights, at least. Yeah, I don't know. Daniel Dubois has been coming along with some major improvements in his last few fights. At the very least, I think it would be competitive, but I don't know where his ceiling is yet, so I can't definitely say I think Parker beats him. I think it's a tough pick, man. But it's a great fight. I wish it would happen, but don't get your hopes up too high with that promotional clash. I can't see Eddie letting Joe go and fight on BT Sport for starters, and I can't see Frank letting Daniel Dubois go and fight on Sky Sports when there's no belts or anything significant offered for Daniel Dubois if he wins the fight, you know? So it is what it is. Have we got a Mila 2243 in the house?
You go, mate.
Not too bad. And yourself?
Good, man.
That's the bugger. Good stuff. Yeah, so what do you reckon about this Parker versus Dubois possible fight?
Yeah, I think there's an echo. Am I muted? I am. That's right. Yeah, I think it's a good fight. It'd be a very exciting fight, but I don't think it'll happen.
Yeah?
I don't think it'll happen at this point in time. I think Parker's people will be looking for Chisora, White, or Usyk.
Yeah. Any particular reasons besides the looking for the other fights? Do you think the promotional clash has much to do with it?
Who's Dubois with?
Frank Warren.
Oh, right, yeah. I think, yeah. They could possibly make it happen if it's just a promoter issue. But I just think Parker's people, they'll be looking for those other ones. So I think,
yeah. Well, there's not a lot to offer for Parker, unless it happened maybe after the Fujimoto fight for Dubois, where Dubois will probably pick up the WBC silver belt and the WBO, I think it's Asia Pacific. Don't quote me on that one. It's one of the belts that Fujimoto's got.
Yeah, because I think that's the problem. They would probably look at Dubois and they'd be thinking, if we beat him, you know, how much does it help us get towards a title shot? But if he beats us, you know, that's a disaster.
Yeah.
So I just don't think that probably at this point, I don't think they'll roll the dice and go with that, really.
Yeah.
It'll be a great fight. It'll be a really good fight, but I just don't think at this point.
Yeah, well, I certainly think if they did fight, that fight would be able to tell us where Daniel Dubois' current ceiling may be.
Oh, definitely, it would.
Yeah. I think there's certainly a possibility that he could beat Parker as well, you know. So,
Oh yeah, he's a big, fast, powerful heavyweight.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can't underestimate him. I'd be nervous in that one.
Yeah.
Parker would have to step up and finally deliver, you know, a convincing performance.
Yeah.
He needs to deliver a convincing one. I felt sorry for Parker against Dillian White because that should have been a draw. You know, that was a hard scrap. Both guys each had one legitimate knockdown, you know, and if you take that head clash out of it, which should have been scored 10-9 instead of 10-8, that would have been a drawn fight. So I do feel sorry for Parker in that fight because it actually cost him dearly.
It did. I'm actually pretty happy that it seems Dillian White's a little bit more open to a possible rematch down the track.
Oh, yeah, I'd love to see it, Love to see it. No, I would actually like to see them fight that fight in America because Dillian White, if he tried to do the fouling that he did in the UK and got away with it, if he tried to do that in the States, he would have had a point taken off.
Yeah,
Yeah, he was blatantly fouling, and the American refs would not have let him get away with that.
I did see Kevin Barry after that fight when he was complaining about the referees that they've got in the fights that they've had in the UK. He did mention it would have been so much easier just to get somebody like Kenny Bayless in, and he was the guy who reffed Wilder and Ortiz over the weekend.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So yeah, if a rematch did happen and I was in Parker's team, I'd be trying to try and get Kenny Bayless, or try and get Jack Reese, or what's that bald dude's name? One of the 3 top American referees. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but
yeah. It's something I would really be looking at, because I felt like White got away with murder in that fight. And it makes me laugh, because people at the time said, oh, that's just boxing, you just got to deal with it. But we've been listening to for the last 6 months, all the AJ fans go, oh, Ruiz hits in the back of the head, he rabbit punches, he's a dirty fighter. And it's like, well, you told us when with Dillian White Parker that it's just boxing.
That's right. A lot of fans on social media tend to have a standard for their fighter, and then they have standards for their opponents. So
yeah,
you know, if it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander. If you get called out on changing your goalposts down the track when something happens to your fighter, be aware that you've got no leg to stand on if you're going to move the goalposts.
Yeah, mate. Yeah, just, you know.
Yeah, but yeah, that I think is one of the reasons why Dillian White, straight after the fight, both him and Mark Tibbs were saying, no, we've beaten Joseph Parker, we're going to move on now.
Oh, they know they dodged a bullet, man.
Big time.
They know they did, eh?
Yeah.
They really dodged a bullet in that fight. He was 30 seconds from getting stopped as well.
Yeah, well, it makes you wonder if that head clash hadn't happened, or Parker was given 5 minutes to recover.
Yeah.
What may have happened in those middle rounds as well. Maybe Parker might not have got knocked down in the 9th like he did.
Oh, that's right, yeah, because he was fighting. He was having to dig deep at that point, and he was hanging in there. It made me laugh. I was talking to some clown on YouTube, and he was calling Parker a coward, and I said, mate, if he was a coward, he wouldn't have got up in that 8th or 9th round and kept going. He could have laid on the floor, Parker. He could have just said, I've had enough.
If he was a coward, he wouldn't even taken the fight on 7 weeks' notice.
No, I know. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
God, mate.
But,
yeah, there's been a lot of talk with the UK fans how he bottled it against Chisora, and I'm like, well, okay, so he had the guts to fight. He'd fought nothing but top 50 fighters and had the guts to get in the ring with Takim, who was ranked in the top 10 with a lot of the sanctioning bodies. Then he got in with AJ. Then he fought Dillian White on short notice. He fought Andy Ruiz, but he's scared of Chisora.
Yeah. And he fought Huey Fury when nobody else would fight him either.
Yeah, no one would go near him, and he fought him. Yeah, mate. It just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. Not at all. But I'm glad to see Eddie Hearn saying that Parker's still in the running for the Chisora fight, and to me that kind of says to me that maybe the pushing from Hearn and Hay of Usyk's team to fight Chisora isn't going so well.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I hope the fight does happen. I mean, you can't count Chisora. He's got that. He's been putting people out with that right hand lately. You know, he's found it's a good punch for him. So you can't disrespect him. And I mean, Parker's going to have to be fit, and he's going to have to be ready for 12 rounds, because Chisora won't let him go. He's one of those pressure fighters that will just be on top of you and stay there.
Yeah.
So it will be a tough fight for Parker, but I think he can pull that one out.
Yeah. Phil Roberts makes a good point. That left hand that Parker took, I think that was the one on the 9th he was talking about, that put him down, would have knocked out any other heavyweight. Or most
mate, I mean, yeah, he put Chisora to sleep. He put, what's the other guy's name?
Spilka.
No, the Australian.
Lucas Brown.
Yeah, put him to sleep. He was bowling people with that punch, man.
Yeah.
And Parker took it, and Parker got up and his legs weren't even wobbled.
No.
He just got up, mate, and he took the count and kept going.
That's it, you know. Don't get me wrong here, I'm not racist, but those coconut chins are as hard as coconuts.
Oh, they are, mate. They are, eh? There's something, they've got something, eh?
Yeah, man. So, yeah, we'll see what happens with Parker. Hopefully he gets that Chisora fight, or he gets a Usyk fight, or
Yeah,
how
get
something good out of Eddie. I guess Eddie can't be blamed too much for not being able to get Parker a fight. However, you know, it was quite a few weeks ago after Parker had pulled out and Chisora had knocked out David Price. Eddie was saying, no, there's no more room for anybody on the cards.
Exactly.
And then, hello, Dillian White's on the card all of a sudden. And he's not even contracted to Matchroom Boxing.
Yeah, I argued with Boxing Squared and Adam Fahey on Boxing Squared's podcast. And I said to them, it's bullshit. And I mean, I quite honestly felt like it was an English promoter taking care of an English boy. Because Parker, I read the article, they went to him and they said, hey, can we get on the card in Saudi Arabia? And they were like, oh no, the fights have already been pre-planned a long time ago and all this. And it's like, okay, well then, if that's the case, why are you struggling to find a opponent for Dillian? If it was all pre-planned a long time ago.
Yeah.
It's just BS. And Parker, apparently, they tried to get on any card. They offered to lower the purse to get on a card.
Yeah, there was an option in the States, wasn't there?
Oh God, mate! And they just would not do anything for them.
Yeah.
And then you see, as you say, you see Dillian getting on this card at short notice. As I say, if it was planned a long time ago, they wouldn't be scrambling for an opponent for Dillian.
No.
It's BS, mate. I know it's BS. It's just an English promoter taking care of an English boy.
Yep.
That's what it comes down to, mate.
Even though he's not contracted to Matchroom, don't forget that one, because he only works with Matchroom on fight-by-fight basis, doesn't he?
Yep.
So, it is what it is. I guess maybe they're giving Parker a bit of punishment for pulling out of a fight. I don't know. But it's not Parker's fault. He got bitten by a spider. It happens.
Hopefully February will get a fight anyway.
Hopefully it's looking like there's going to be a strictly heavyweight card that Eddie wants to put on. So that should be full of Matchroom names. See all the boys out in action. So looking forward.
What did you think of Wilder, the second coming of Christ?
Oh Jesus! No,
the LDBC, they are just going off, man.
They're still pumping up Luis Ortiz, eh?
Oh, they are, and they're saying that Wilder's got this amazing ring IQ, and he set Ortiz up and all this, and I just honestly thought Ortiz just got overconfident and just made a bad mistake. I don't know why. You look at Stavern, you look at Brazil, and you look at Ortiz. All three of them stood right in front of Wilder, within punching range, and didn't punch.
Yep.
And Wilder, that is bread and butter for him. He's just going to put the laser beam on you and put that right hand down the pipe. You either got to stay right out of range of Wilder or get right in on his chest to smother him. Or if you're at that mid range, you've got to be punching when you're there. Yeah. You're either punching when you're there, giving him something to think about, or you're stepping to your right to get out of there. You can't just stand there in that range and not throw anything.
Well, you particularly can't let him step around to his left and open yourself up to his right hand, and that's exactly what Ortiz did. I thought Ortiz had Wilder hurt, and he backed him up into the corner, but then his slow ass feet, he let him out, and he stumbled, let Wilder turn him, and popped down the pipe. It was a bad mistake. It wasn't just a little mistake. It was bad.
But he didn't punch. You notice that? He was in that punching range, Ortiz, and he just he kept his hands up, but he didn't punch. And it's like, if you're not going to punch, step around, get out of the way. Don't stand there and not punch because you become a punching bag. I thought it was terrible. Yeah, I thought it was terrible. It's a terrible mistake. I only gave Wilder one round, and a lot of guys are saying, oh, well, he doesn't need to win rounds because he's got the power. But the thing is, the way he's fighting Wilder, it's almost like saying, well, I'm going to go to the casino, I'm going to put all my money on one spin of the wheel, I'm either going to win big or go broke. And that's what he's doing, because if he's falling so far behind on points, if he can't land the big punch, or he lands the big punch and his opponent doesn't get knocked out and comes back at him, what's he going to do? he gets to 12 rounds, he's losing.
Yeah.
You
I don't
know,
know.
he's taking a big risk with what he's doing.
It's been very carefully matched. Like you say, guys who stand in front of him, guys who don't have very good feet, have been bread and butter for Wilder, and he can get away with that game plan with these guys. And I was going through some fighters earlier, just a top sort of 20 on BoxRec, and guys that I think who were, if you pour a lot of punches onto Wilder and don't give him time to think, that's another tactic, besides staying out of range or right up on his chest. If you let him think and give him time, he's learnt to use his patience and his ring IQ to look for those openings. But
Definitely.
What really worried me with the Wilder Ortiz fight was such a lack of volume from Wilder in particular. I mean, he's not past his best yet. He should be throwing more punches against a guy whose punch volume dropped. It almost halved from the last fight.
I had Wilder down 6 rounds to 1.
Yeah, I had Wilder. I gave him the second round, and then I couldn't pick a winner for the third round because they're so low volume.
They were, yeah.
But all the rest of the rounds were Ortiz easily. So
I just struggled to give. I felt the 5th round was close, and I thought Wilder may have taken that round.
yeah,
But a lot of the other rounds, he just wasn't letting his right hand go. He wasn't really putting out a snapping jab. It was a pouring jab.
Yeah.
I just thought, how do I give this guy rounds? That was what I struggled with. I was just like, man, he's just not doing enough. And the rounds were ticking over one by one. And I thought to myself, geez, you if you want to knock the guy out, you got to throw to knock him out. I thought to myself, Jesus, you're digging a hole. That's what I mean about he's putting everything on landing the big bomb. What if he doesn't land it? There's gonna come a point. He's gonna come up against somebody who's alert, and he can't land the damn thing, and he's going to end up going to the cards, and that's going to be it.
I see a comment here. Wilder triple feinted the jab on purpose to find the accurate distance. Well, a feint isn't sticking your hand out and pouring, and that's what he was doing most of the night, touching Ortiz's jab hand. What I saw was Wilder didn't want to be first because he was worried about the counter.
Oh yeah, and he was getting a few straight left though.
Yeah,
he was getting a few of those straight lefts. It got him. It did get him a little bit hesitant, I think, early on.
But if Ortiz, like I think you were saying earlier, got a bit cocky and got a bit lazy when he thought he had Wilder hurt, he was trying to throw first, and as soon as Ortiz starts trying to throw first, that's when Wilder will counter him. So,
yeah,
yeah,
man.
Neither guy wanted to be first most of the night, and that's
they had a healthy respect for each other. They were both very cagey. What was the punch output per round? God, must have been terrible.
Oh, it was pretty low. I haven't actually seen the CompuBox stats yet. I wonder if there's any out actually. I'll have a quick Google and see if anything comes up.
It was nauseating. I watched I actually did the pay-per-view, and they were talking about Wilder, and he's matching Ali and all this defenses. It's like, well, let's just keep a grip on this thing. Ali, what did he do? 9 or 10 defenses, but then he got banned.
Yeah, and look at who he was fighting in his defenses.
Yep, and he got banned for 3.5 years. That would have been, if Ali hadn't been banned for that 3.5 years of his prime, he would have been pushing 20 defenses, 20 plus.
Yeah,
and look at who he was fighting. And I mean, he had 3 fights afterwards with Fraser, 3 with Norton, 1 with Foreman, and they're just comparing Deontay to this guy. It's like, oh my God, mate, get a grip. Like I love watching Deontay knock people out. It's really awesome. But the people are just losing all perspective. I mean, I said to someone, if you sent Deontay, even Anthony Joshua and Fury, if you sent them back to the early 90s with Holyfield, Tyson, Lennox, Riddick Bowe, Ray Mercer, George Foreman, Oliver McCall, those sort of guys, AJ, Wilder, and Fury would all get losses.
Yeah, easily.
they would not go undefeated, man.
No.
This era of boxing is like this. Stylistically, there's some good matchups in this era of boxing. We can have some entertaining fights, but when you're talking the actual quality of the fighters, this is probably the weakest era since the 60s.
Yeah, and how many fights these days, particularly in the heavyweight division, do you have the crowd booing from lack of activity in fights?
I know.
You know, and how many times did you see that through the 90s?
But yeah,
You know,
Jesus, they were great fights. You know,
different breed completely these days, isn't it?
and they fought each other. Like, I mean, Evander Holyfield fought Riddick Bowe 3 times. There was no contractual issues.
No.
They just got in the ring and did it, mate. Holyfield fought Tyson. Tyson fought Lennox. Holyfield fought Lennox. Holyfield fought Foreman. Ray Mercer fought Lennox and Holyfield. These guys just rumbled.
Yeah.
They didn't think twice about it. Yeah, so you know this era, I think people just need to. As I say, I like watching Wilder's KO. Amazing power. It's great to watch, but I think people are just losing themselves.
Yeah. The punch stats for the fight are up on BoxRec. You just want to type in CompuBox, Wilder versus Ortiz 2 CompuBox, and it'll pop up for you.
Oh, yep.
But they're pretty crappy numbers.
Oh man.
So, I don't usually read too much into punch stats, but you know,
No, it's just someone pushing a button, but
yeah, but you know, it gives you an idea of average punches thrown per round, and I don't look too much at the landed power punches and that sort of thing, because like you say, it's just someone pushing a button. But
yeah, round 1.
Pretty low, man.
Total punches landed. Total punches round 1 for Wild 31, 31, 23, 23, 20. Jesus. Even Ortiz was like, yeah, you're right. They just wanted to counter each other, eh? And they just weren't throwing. That's a shocking punch.
Yeah.
God, that's a terrible punch output.
Hopefully. Well, on the upside, both of them can only improve on that.
Well, yeah,
get
man.
worse.
And I mean, well, we've got the fight out of the way. That's it. Done.
Yeah.
So hopefully you'll have Fury, Wilder in February. Wilder seemed to think it was on, and then after that, I mean, surely it has to be the winner of AJ and Ruiz against Wilder. Surely it has to happen, man. I don't know what excuses they're going to come up with.
Fury Wilder anyway.
Yep. And you got Dillian White. You got Usyk lurking around. I hope Wilder fights those guys, man. I'd love to see him either fight Fury, the winner, AJ, Ruiz, Usyk, and Dillian White. And if Wilder smoked those 5 guys, he would be undisputed champ. He would be the king of this era, and I'll give him his props.
Yep, me too.
You know,
I've got a funny feeling though. Once Wilder has cleaned out the PBC stable, he's going to look at Daniel Dubois. I noticed the other week he was talking about how he thinks he's a shining star, up and coming, and also Frank Warren seems to be more open to working with the big promotional companies in America. So I don't know. That's a good fight down the track as well in another year or two. But let's see what happens with Daniel Dubois.
They don't seem to. They don't like Eddie Hearn. I think they fear Eddie Hearn.
He's the devil.
They fear him because they fear Eddie and Dan's because he's the opposition to the pay-per-view and the American promoters. Yeah, they really don't like him, man.
Whereas Frank sticks to his own in the UK, but he's willing to work with the promoters to get his fighters on American platforms. So
yeah.
It is what it is. But this weekend we have Zhili Zhang is going to be facing Andre Rudenko. Did you hear about that one?
No, hang on a sec. I'll get my...
It's the replacement for Sergey Kuzmin, who pulled out.
I heard he got it. Yeah, I heard he... What happened to him?
Broken foot, apparently.
Oh, shit.
So I don't know how he did it or anything, but that's what I heard. So he'll be out of the ring for 6 months.
How do you spell that guy's name?
Andre Rudenko. Andre is spelled Andriy. Rudenko is Rudenko.
Andre... Was it Rudenko?
Yeah. Udenko.
Oh, yeah. Let's see, is it working? Andre Rudenko,
Never been knocked out.
Yep, he's 32. Oh, he's big. Look, Jesus, 32 and 24 KO, 4 losses, but never stopped.
Yeah, and he's fought Alexander Povetkin and Lucas Brown, the 2 biggest bangers he's faced, and they couldn't stop him.
He's fought Cabiel.
He got dominated by Cabiel.
Yeah.
But didn't look like he was in
Brown,
trouble at any stage.
Huey Fury. Yeah, he's a tough dude, isn't he?
Yeah.
Tough guy. And this Zili Zhang. He's that big 6 foot. 6'6", big dude. Yeah. Yeah, that'll be an interesting fight. Gee.
I think even though Kuzman pulled out and we've got this late replacement, I think Rudenko's still going to be the best opponent he's ever faced. So, yeah, he's been hanging around not doing anything for a good 3 years. He was the 2008 Olympic silver medalist. So, yeah, he can box.
Yeah. He's 6 foot, quite a short guy, 6'1.5".
Yeah.
Yeah, 73-inch reach. So he'd be going to the body a lot, you'd imagine.
He's kind of like a smaller version of Christian Hammer.
Right, yeah.
You know, knows how to survive for sure. Puts up the high guard, tries to pressure forwards quite a lot. I don't think he's got much of a chance of beating Zhili Zhang, but I could see Zhili Zhang wanting to make a statement and be the first to stop him. But we'll see. Have you seen much of Zhili Zhang's fights?
No, you got plenty on YouTube, or?
There's a few around. I think mainly his earlier ones are on there, but...
Oh, yeah, I'll have a look. I'll check it out.
Yeah, he moves really well for a big guy, man. He reminds me... He looks like the same sort of movement style as Joseph Parker, so... or Ajit Cabiel sort of thing. He can move. So, big guy who can hit hard. He has been dropped once, though. I did see him dropped... Ooh, who was it who dropped him? Chantel Williams, I think. Dropped him, hit him in the mouth and put him on his ass, but he got straight back up.
Oh, yeah.
And ended up stopping the dude. So he's got a bit of a chin. He deals with getting hit not too bad by the looks of it. Looked like he got more of a fright than got hurt when he got knocked down. So,
Yep. Hey, I was looking at Deontay's record, like people saying, I can't believe he's not getting credit or something. 10 defenses, champ for 4 years, but when you look at it, he won the title off Bermain Stavern, then he fought Eric Molina, Duapar, Spilker, Areola, Washington, Bermain Stavern again. I mean, it's only the last 4 fights, you know, he's fought Luis Ortiz twice. I'll give him some props for that. No one else wanted to fight him. Fury, which was, I thought he lost, but it was called a draw, so we'll call it a draw. And then Dominic Breazeale, who frankly, you know, he really doesn't amount to much either.
never had.
No, I mean, it's like people just need to get a grip. I mean, anyone can make that many title defenses if they're fighting that level of fighter.
Yeah, well, prior to him stepping up, now I would have thought Duapar and Washington were his 2 best defenses. Most of the rest of them aren't worth mentioning. I mean, Eric Molina, come on. Chris Areola, maybe 10 years ago would have been worth mentioning.
Yeah, solid guy, but hey, it's just, you know, I went through his record the other day and I was looking at it and I thought, God, man, you couldn't help but make 10 defenses with that level of competition. If you're any kind of fighter with a title, you should be knocking guys like that over one after the other.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah, man.
And the fact that Artis Spilker gave him so much grief in that defense.
I watched that live. Yeah, man.
You know,
God.
Things like that. It gives naysayers plenty to argue on, you know. And people are still saying it now. He's just got 1 punch. I mean, I think he's got a little bit more than 1 punch. He's got some,
same.
You know, he's got good accuracy most of the time. He knows how to step around, create angles now. He judges distance well, but there's a lot lacking when it comes to volume, When it comes to his jab, he could use that jab being so long so much more effectively. He could be a much more rounded fighter, and I think that's what most people try and pick at, not the fact that he's unbeaten and knocked almost everybody out.
Yeah, but I was looking at, like, when someone said, "Oh, he's going to destroy Ruiz. He's just going to destroy him. It's going to be over so quickly." And it's like, well, for one thing, Ruiz has got an incredible chin, really excellent chin. Now, if you look at his record, well, Bermain Staverne went 12 rounds with him. Molina went 9, Duhapar went 11, Spilka went 9, Areola went 8. Are their chins? Luis Ortiz went 10 the first time. Are their chins better than Ruiz's?
They don't take these things into consideration, really, do they? They just
want
to back their man, and that's that.
Yeah, Wilder, he doesn't just blast everyone out early. You know, some of these fights, man, he's Duhapar nearly took him the distance.
Well, there ain't many fights that he's blasted them out in the early rounds, really. It's only Bermain Staverne the second time.
Yeah, man.
And Dominic Brazil. The rest of them have all gone rounds, so...
Yeah. And I'm looking at a guy like Ruiz, that his chin is bloody good. And I've said to people, you know, at some point, I just believe at some point he's going to hit someone and they're going to take it. You know, they're going to take, and if anyone is going to take it in this era of boxing, I think it will be Ruiz.
Yeah.
If there's one guy that he can't knock out, it will be Ruiz.
Yeah, definitely.
And if Ruiz can get inside, he's going to have the hand speed advantage, and he's going to have the technical boxing advantage on the inside with his combinations.
Well, you know, I think there's even another one that we shouldn't really be talking about because he's a freaking cheat. But Jarrell Miller, he's got a hell of a chin too.
Yeah, he's a solid dude, man, and he throws a lot of punches.
That's it. He won't give Wilder time to think. He won't give Wilder time to set his feet. I think he maybe could be susceptible to getting turned like Luis Ortiz did and getting one on the side of the head like that. But with the pressure he puts on, I don't know whether Wilder would have the time to even think about that sort of thing. So
yeah, man.
They've steered clear of everybody who throws a lot of punches and steered clear of everybody who's young and a pressure fighter.
Yep.
Simple. And you know why? Because that's the kind of fighter that could beat Deontay Wilder.
Because they'll just be all over him, man.
Yeah.
They'll be on him, eh? Yeah. The thing, like for Ruiz, the risk is Ruiz can tend to take a right hand. That's the thing. He would have to, you know, he's going to have to sort that out. But it's just that scenario that if he hit Ruiz and everyone's expecting him to drop like everybody else and he didn't. It's just like at that moment, it'd be like, okay, Ruiz is still standing there.
Now
it's
what?
game on. It's really game on at that point.
Yeah, that comes back to that playing a bit of gambling. You know, if Wilder hits Ruiz clean, he doesn't drop. What's plan B?
That's right. That's the thing, eh? Yeah, man. He just, that's what I've tried to say to people. You can't, it's very dangerous when you're a fighter and you say, well, I'm just going to knock him out so it doesn't matter. But then the thing is, if you're well down on points and you don't knock him out, it's like, well, fuck, there go your belts. Yeah. So it's a fight I would love to see. You know, it'd be a very interesting one.
Yeah, well, I wonder if PBC will actually listen to the fans once Deontay's got his bullshit and mandatory out of the way, even though it's a good fight, but it shouldn't be the mandatory. The opportunity for undisputed may be there, or unification may be there, and then let's see a fight that the fans want.
Yeah,
would be great.
Who's the mandatory for Deontay?
Tyson Fury.
Oh, that's the mandatory. Oh, okay. And it was going to happen anyway, wasn't it?
Yeah, but they decided to call it the mandatory, so it would fill the mandatory schedule.
Yeah,
even though he didn't have to fight a final eliminator to get the position.
Jesus. But if they get that out of the way, and then Ruiz AJ, And then, oh, it'd be great, mate. I'd love to see it. I'd love to see the. Well, I want to see the winner, eh? I want to see the winner of Ruiz AJ and against Deontay.
Yeah.
I've got more confidence in the Ruiz fighting Wilder than I do AJ fighting him.
So do I. So do I. Being honest. Definitely, I think if AJ got hit flush on the chin by Wilder, he'd be asleep.
Yeah, mate, it'd be over.
But I don't think it'd be quite so easy with Ruiz. Even if he did get hit flush, I think he's got a better chance of standing up. But I think he's much harder to hit flush as well. He makes himself smaller. He keeps a high guard most of the time. And he can get his hands back into position defensively much quicker than AJ does. That was one thing I've always seen with AJ. When he throws a power punch, his right hand hangs out there for an eternity, it seems, before it gets back to his chin.
And he's got no head movement.
No, he's never really had much head movement anyway, has he?
Movement, and without head movement, Wilder's going to laser you up, man. He's going to put that right hand down the pipe, man. You know it, eh?
Yeah, well, I guess most of the people that AJ's fought have been smaller and got shorter reach than him, so he could just use his feet to maintain distance when it comes to defense. But if he's fighting someone who's bigger than him and just as quick like Wilder, if he don't move his head, he could be in some real shit. But Wilder doesn't really move his head either. No, he's the same sort of thing.
Like if I was AJ and I was fighting Wilder, I would actually look to fight on the inside.
Yeah, definitely.
If I was AJ, I'd be going inside. I'd be looking for those short hooks and uppercuts and throwing combinations in close. Yeah, I would not. I would avoid that. I wouldn't stand back and try to trade punches with him at range and get yourself on the end of that Wilder right hand. I'd definitely go inside.
Yeah, but AJ definitely has a better inside game, and I think throwing punches in bunches, Joshua does have quicker hands, but when it comes to throwing a single shot from a long distance, I think the hand speed of Wilder is a lot quicker than AJ, if you know what I'm getting at. So
yeah. So Phillips said here he wants to see Wilder in against a power puncher. He gets hurt by boxers who are not notorious for power. It's time for him to step up, and I agree. You've got to get this Fury fight out of the way, sort that out, and then get moving, eh?
Yeah. It's tough when you talk about power punches, because when you say power punches, most of those guys don't move very well, and the guys who don't move very well and gonna stand in front of Wilder are sitting ducks. So you want someone who can move, but someone who can punch as well.
Yeah, it was interesting. I read an interview with Ray Mercer, and he got interviewed. It was a recent interview, and they were asking him about the fighters that he fought and all that, and he said obviously the fastest guy he fought was Holyfield, and he also said about Holyfield, he said he was really slick on his feet. He was really a complete fighter. He said that he was constantly moving, but he was always in a position to punch you.
Yeah.
He said Mercer had a lot of respect for him. He really praised him.
Yeah. All right, better do a couple of quick thoughts on fights. The fights with Dillian Whyte and Marius Vuk. You heard about that one?
Yep.
Yeah. How long do you think that one will go? Do you think it'll go the distance with the chin of Wuk, or do you think he's buggered and he's not going to last more than 6 sort of thing?
Oh, hang on. I want to have a look at this quickly.
He did get stopped by Martin Bacoli recently.
Dillian Whyte. What do we got here? Dillian. Marius Wuk. He's been cracking Dillian, eh? He's been punching hard, man.
Yeah.
I'll actually go for... How do you spell his last name? Marius?
It's W-A-C-H.
W-A-C-H. Marius Wuk. That's right. Wuk. Pro boxer. Heavies. He's had 5 losses, 3 KOs. He's 39. I'd go for a stoppage. I'll go. He's a big dude. 6'7.5", 82. I'll probably still go for a stoppage for Dillian, I think.
Yeah. I think he's going to stop him too. I believe when he fought, what's his name? Last opponent. I just said it. Martin Bacoli. It was a referee stoppage. It wasn't actually a KO. and Walk's renowned for having a good chin.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I think he's past it, and I think Dillian's going to proper KO him this time. And that might
Yeah.
be pretty much the last we'll see of Marius Walk. He's been on the slide for a while.
Been in with some big names, that's for sure. But yeah, I'll pick Dillian. At 39 years of age with a long career, I'd pick Dillian to, get him out of there.
Yeah, I think he's going to get him out of there within 6-2. And that, you know, previous to Walk fighting Bacoli, no one had ever stopped him properly. So, he was renowned for having the chin, the type of guy you could throw a full beer bottle from the back of the arena, hit him right in the chin, and he'll just look at you and say, "Where'd that come from?"
Just age starting to get him now.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I think he's going to be toast, and I think it's pretty much just a run out for Dillian to keep him busy. So that is what it is.
Yeah. What do you think of of AJ Ruiz? A week and a half, man.
I'm looking forward to that, mate.
Oh my God, mate! I'm still leaning towards Ruiz, but boy, AJ has trained the house down. He's really. I just wonder though what sort of technical adjustment he can make in 6 months.
Well, having the full camp to prepare for the opponent this time surely got to help him. I did see an article on Boxing Scene there talking about he rejects claims that he's starting to feel nervous coming up to the fight. So I think he's mentally prepared for it as well. I think they've probably got the best game plan in place to try and utilize the attributes and the advantages he has. And I don't think we'll see too much different from Andy Ruiz. Maybe a little bit more body work earlier on if he can get to him.
Yeah, I think Ruiz, he's going to fight the fight that he has to fight, which is to try and close with him and engage. What else can he do, eh?
Exactly. I hope Andy's worked on a bit of his foot speed. I mean, he's been notorious for having slow feet and fast hands. It doesn't really go together. And I think in this fight, he's going to have to chase down AJ a lot.
Yeah, and that jab, I'm expecting AJ, he's going to look to work that jab a lot more. Try and make it a lot more effective. So
yeah, step into it. Get some respect from Ruiz. Make him think about coming in.
Like when he was jabbing Parker, AJ had a stiff jab.
Yeah.
He had a real stiff jab when he fought Parker, and that's what I was expecting in the first fight against Ruiz. It was like, where is it?
Yeah, he was just pouring it out there like a pussycat, wasn't he?
Yeah. Yeah, so no, I'm excited about it. I'm sort of 55-45 Ruiz.
Yeah.
I think I could see the fight going well for AJ early, right, using his jab, and everything's going good, but I just still feel that at some point Ruiz is going to get to him and hit him. And if he gets AJ knocked down and rocked, I think AJ will stay rocked. And that's a big problem because Ruiz will once again put more knockdowns on him. And it could start getting away from AJ. So I'm sort of leaning 55-45 Ruiz.
Yeah, I'm leaning about the same, maybe 60-40 Ruiz. I think Ruiz is going to be chasing him down, trying to work the body, trying to slow AJ down, and maybe we might get a knockdown around round 7 or 8. That is probably where I think AJ's most vulnerable, come around 7, 8, 9. But if Ruiz can't get any effective work done in those sort of 3 rounds, and then AJ starts to come on again when Ruiz starts slowing down. So I think Ruiz can win by knockout, but I can't see him winning on points.
No, I can't see it, I can't see it either.
And I honestly don't think AJ is going to be able to knock out Ruiz. So if AJ is going to win, it's got to be on points for me.
I don't think. I mean, he hit. I mean, he come into that fight. What was he, 246 or 247? He was a big, solid guy, and I don't believe all the crap that he was concussed before the fight. No. He looked perfectly fine when he threw that right uppercut, left hook combo to drop Ruiz.
Yeah.
Those punches were fast, hard. They landed clean, and Ruiz took them, and he just got straight back up, and his legs weren't even wobbled.
Yeah.
And then he came in and took another straight right hand and still didn't go down. Yeah. He's incredibly tough. So I think, as I say, for AJ, it's either 12 rounds or defeat.
Yeah,
points win or he's going to get taken out.
his renewed hunger to try and get his belts back is certainly going to help him in this fight, I think.
Oh yeah, man.
He's probably hungrier than he's ever been.
Because his pride got stung, eh?
Big time, and he wants that label. I did see an article the other day. He was saying, when I beat Ruiz, what did he say? Bow down and tell me I'm great.
Yeah, is that yeah?
That was a bit over the top, I thought, but that'll be the way he's feeling. If he can avenge the defeat, then he deserves to be up there rated with champions who have done the same. So why not?
Yeah. Oh yeah, man.
But
as I say, yeah, I saw either Ruiz by TKO or KO. I think it'll be a T. I think it'll be a TKO for Ruiz if he wins, and I think if AJ wins, it'll be points.
Yep, I'm down with that as well at this stage.
Yeah.
I'm also excited about another heavyweight fight on the card in Alexander Povetkin and Michael Hunter. I think that's gonna be an awesome fight as well.
Yeah, that's gonna be great, man.
I'm picking Hunter in that one due to his youth, his volume, and his skill, but you can never count out old Povetkin with that big left hook he's got. He's got power in his right hand as well, and he doesn't punch to try and win on points. He punches to knock your head clean off. So
yeah, I'm just thinking of that fight Povetkin had. He took the God. It was a vicious left hook. It wasn't that long ago.
David Price.
No, oh, that one. Yeah, there was Price, but there was possibly, I think it was Dorpa.
Oh, Dorpa, who fought on 2 days' notice.
Yeah, he poleaxed him, eh?
Just about killed him. Yeah,
yeah, mate.
He looked dead, all right. But to be fair to Dorpa, he stepped in the ring with 2 days' notice when was that the fight Wilder pulled out of? I think it was.
Yeah,
it was. Dorpa was just along to watch the fight. He didn't even have his boxing shoes. He had borrowed some sneakers or some shit from the fight.
Oh no, man!
It wasn't in full shape, but
cannon fodder, man.
Yeah, he really did poleaxe in that time, and credit to Dorpa for doing that. He basically got knocked out for a good paycheck.
Yeah. I just remember seeing the highlights of it, eh? Oh, it was brutal.
It's brutal, all right. And the old classic between Carlos Takam and Alexander Povetkin's another good one.
Yeah, that was great. Good fight.
Fighters like that who are all action, it's kind of a throwback to the 90s style, really, isn't it?
It is Povetkin and that guys like that. But yeah, definitely, man. There's even Takam, both Takam and Povetkin, they both show up and fight.
They always come to fight, don't they?
Yeah, and they'll fight anybody.
Yeah.
And yeah, they are a throwback. And some of these other prima donnas we've got out here at the moment, man. It makes
the Diva era.
Oh, it is, mate. It's the Diva era. It's terrible. And it's sad because people have been saying, oh, boxing, it's not a mainstream sport now. It's really fallen away. And it's like, well, it's fallen away because they got people in charge who don't care about the sport. They care about themselves and their wallets.
Yeah.
If they would make the big fights happen, boxing wouldn't have fallen away.
Exactly.
How can Errol Spence Crawford not happen?
Yeah.
How can that fight not happen? My God, imagine the pay-per-view for that fight.
Be huge.
Yeah. Or even now, if they did AJ Wilder, I don't care what anyone says. Even if AJ lost to Ruiz twice, if you did an AJ Wilder fight, it would sell out and the pay-per-view would be huge.
3 times even.
It would. It would be massive, mate. It would just still be massive.
Yeah.
But they just don't make these fights happen, and it's just so frustrating. And there's too much self-interest. Yeah. And it's like these promoters in America, they don't like Eddie Hearn and Dan's and all this. They said as a threat to them. And it's like, well, then get off your asses and do something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're not managing your own patch. You've allowed boxing to stagnate in America, so some other people are coming in to try and get it going.
Yeah. Don't let it marinate.
Yeah, I hate that, eh? Marinating, man.
Yeah.
They let Pacquiao Mayweather marinate. Look how that turned out.
What they should be doing is running polls for fans to give them an idea of what fights they want fans want to see. Because ultimately, it's the fans that pay the bills.
It is, man. It is. It's like having a shop. You know, you put the stuff on the shelves that the customers want to buy.
Yeah, man.
It's just you can have that. You don't put the stuff on the shelf that you like. You know, I mean, no one will buy it, mate.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Is there any other subjects you'd like to quickly crack on about before we think about wrapping it up, mate?
No, that's about it, really. It's all I can think of.
All
Yep.
good. All right. So that's pretty much us for today on my Wing It news show. And thanks to Marla for jumping in and joining us. Thanks to everybody else in the chat as well for turning up for a yarn. Maybe next time y'all can hit that link, come and join us. We'll see how you go. So yeah, thanks for popping in, brother, and we'll catch you next time.
See you next week.
Yeah, mate.
Hey, mate. Sweet.
All right. See everybody. We are out.